Hi there, welcome to some of the latest news and reactions within the Noah Presgrove case from Key People Within. This time round, we're taking a look at Sarah Long, sister to Stevie Howard, and a person called Brooke Carter. Their initial responses, replies, what they've had to say about that private investigator known as Kathy Bingham, however you say it, in recent time about the likes of the casino situation, the hat being dumped by the three guys. Other talks about feeling that there's two people within the case that are truly innocent, but then the others, and then there's two other leads with two other people that may need to be looked into. Done very cryptically, vague as well, but if that's just to protect the case and the investigation, fair enough. But what does Sarah Long and Brooke Carter have to say? Are they positive of that interview which happened on Partners in True Crime, or is it negative? I think it's negative because I saw the first sentence of one of the paragraphs and it said, I've just wasted an hour of my life. So I think it's going to be complaining a bit. Now, I'm trying to catch up on this theme and pattern because whilst it's important to look at the updates within the Noah Presgrove case, progression made and findings along the way, it's important to look at the latest updates in reactions and responses from those directly within the case, how they react to the updates in general. Are they positive of the progress or negative? Because if the negative, it comes across they don't want the progress. Why is that? Why don't you want the case being solved? Why don't you want leads along the way? Is it because you feel like it'll compromise you, your position, or someone that you know or connected to? That's how it could be, interpreted as. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. There's a handful of different screenshots, so feel free to pause the video at whatever time. I think this is quite an important one. Credit to Reddit, credit to the poster that reposted it from Facebook onto Reddit. In terms of where these posts come from on pages, there's a chance that it's probably on the Sofa. Is it Sofa Sleuth? Is that what it's called? Sofa, whatever, on Facebook, a private group with the likes of Stevie Howard, Tim Howard, Sarah Long, Brooke Carter, and whoever else out there. The parents, adults, those are partygoers, sisters, brothers, beyond, all collecting together like a convent. Yeah, that's what it seems to be. It's a private group, so gaining access is awkward, but whoever is on the inside, maybe, I guess it can be helpful. And, complaints can come in and criticisms regarding that. But at the end of the day, the other problematic people, the original ones within the case, were also spying about on the Presgrove's Army Facebook page. So it's like give and take your own medicine is what it is. By looking at these reactions and documenting it, archiving it, right? Because it might be here, might be gone tomorrow, could be deleted, or a post could be taken down. So spread the awareness so people know where things are at. This is still to do with the Kathy Bingham situation, Partners True Crime interview. Isn't it interesting how whenever an individual related to the case, involved in the investigation, whatever, does an interview on Partners in True Crime, it's followed by a wave, a short burst of possible resistance and complaints and disagreements with those on Facebook who are just happen to be within the case directly or indirectly. And it comes in waves. So the timing of it all, it's more than a coincidence, right? I mean, what we're looking at today is the equivalent, similar patterns probably, to when Caden Pressey did his interview, I guess the initial first one, and maybe a bit to do with that part one, final 10 minutes in the second video of Partners in True Crime when they did that very short 10-minute continued interview with Caden. Don't know why it was cut up, it was a bit weird, but it happened. And after Caden did his interview, there was a lot of people bashing him. Well, not a lot, but the proportion of the resistance by a certain sample size of those within the case, it was almost like the majority of the typical names you'd expect to think of. And I think that was in the Sofa Sleuth community as well. So doing it privately, behind the scenes, coming out the woodwork, calling out, criticising, having a go at Caden Pressey, typical. Now, when it comes to me, I give positives and negatives, right? That can apply to Caden Pressey's interview. I've already demonstrated that. And it's applied ever since, even with, Kathy Bingham, in terms of how she put things across, how she hasn't been to the scene. And I don't know if that means the highway scene or the scene of the party house or both in general. But like, if you're not physically been there, that's a bit of a limitation. That's all I'm saying. In terms of interviewing 6 people out of 40 party goers, that is very, very limited, but it's very understandable that maybe it does take time and it's hard to find all the other remaining party goers and if they want to be interviewed or not, right? But still, 6 people almost a year on, disappointing, but you can't blame them too much because it depends what the situation is in the background and all the factors going about. They talk about the casino footage, or more so the eyewitness identifying those inside of a bathroom in which a camera may be on the outside of the bathroom looking towards the door or nearby, so you could see who goes in and out. No date, no year, no month was given as of this moment, so that's very limited as well. How relevant is it to the case? Even if the people are relevant from the case in this footage or by this eyewitness report, and whatever they're doing there, it could be anything, right? And, you know, with the camera situation, if it's not in the bathroom, because most of the time it's not, and it's on the outside, yeah, you might see someone go in and out. First they go in with the hat, then they come out without the hat, but you don't actually see them putting it into the bin, right? And you wouldn't probably be able to track the hat into the bin to prove that without the footage, because you wouldn't even have the bin and the hat itself, because it would have been changed since, whether that be a month or a year later, because the bins are changed and probably quite regularly in busy places like that, or semi-busy places. Maybe it's at the end of each week. And, you know, I saw Skeptical's comment, or someone's comment recently, talking about how when looking at that specific casino, footage could be deleted up to 14 months, up to a year or something. So at least up to a year. That's promising, right? But I guess if there's a lot of footage and there's a lot of people, there is a lot of cameras, so could that take off the weight when it comes to things being overwritten or deleted? If you got enough cameras in different areas, you probably have more storage, more recordings spread out. If that really was the case, and whether that being 23, 24, the casino situation, it's a race against time. Will it happen? Well, I guess the private investigator is working on it. So I just wanted to give you a little add-on there, some extra details which has been learned along the way. In terms of the reviews of that casino, if you was to go on Google Maps, it's like rated 4 stars. But if you go on, I think is it TripAdvisor or another place, less reviews, but very negative. Okay. I had a quick glance through names. None of them rung a bell with me. They weren't familiar, they didn't stand out, but it was worth just a little try, just to have a little look here and there. So, with that being summarised, welcome to those that are in this live premiere. I honestly don't know how many people are watching tonight. I honestly don't know how many people will actually watch this video. Last night, in terms of YouTube, in terms of momentum, as seen previously, last night was categorically an absolute abysmal disaster in terms of video performance. Absolutely pathetic by YouTube. If you wonder why I'm talking very slow, it's just in case humans misunderstand me and assume that I'm calling them that. I am not. I am referring to YouTube, okay? With the notifications not working, not being sent out. There's one thing that everybody does need to check out, and that's on my community post. Okay, go on my channel, check the community post, and it gives a bit of an explanation by the hands of YouTube themselves and my response as well. Be sure to catch up on it. And for anyone that did miss out, unfortunately, on my video last night, a hands-on original map analysis, feel free to catch up on it from last night. You'll be able to locate the video, top right corner of the screen right now, where the eye symbol is. Top right, hover over it, click, you'll find the video. You'll also find a playlist of all the other videos that I've done on this case, all in one place. If you do want to leave your thoughts and comments, reactions to what we're going to look at today, let me know down below under the video in the comment section. And down below, you'll find a pinned comment by me with some additional links if you do want to support this channel. Shout out to the recent people that have supported my channel here and there. And of course, last night, Cleo, Misty Clee, for the gifted memberships to the 3 individuals last night. It's good to see that the gifted memberships, although they're random, because that's how YouTube is, it's like a lottery. It's good to see that those gifted memberships are going to different people over time, right? And not like, actually, no, I'll leave it there, because if I say something, then people probably misunderstand and try and twist it on me, you know? Mind games, not going to work with me. But it's good that there's a variety with time. Even like with the super chats and super stickers, it's always very good, especially when you get regular people. But from time to time, like when new people show up for the first time, or I don't know, they just show up, and if there's a comment, a positive one, or if there's like a super chat or a super sticker, it's a nice surprise to see, because you're not expecting it, and a new person has shown up supporting the channel. Obviously very positive. So with that all being said and done, just wanted to lay that all out there. Let's take a look at Sarah Long and Brooke Bounds Carter's response to that private investigator with the latest updates on the case. So this was posted, or should I say reposted, 16 hours ago by Fabulous Coffee. So that's a new person showing up to me. So credit to Fabulous Coffee. Title reads, Brooke and Sarah provide their thoughts on the podcast interview with the PI Kathy Bingham. And I believe there's a little caption down below as well. Sarah is the sister of Stevie. So Sarah Long, also known as SL, the sister to Stevie Howard, SH. Sarah Long is the aunt of Avery and Carter Combs. Stevie Howard is the mother of Avery Carter Combs. So hopefully that's clear enough there. It says Avery Combs is the party host, party girl of the party at the time, 22 years old, where Noah Presgrove was last seen alive. I'm not sure what relation Brooke has to the family. If you know, comment below. Okay, so it's a bit uncertain. I mean, the last name's called Carter, but then you got Carter Combs. No relation there, right? So I've not really heard of anyone else within the case that has their last name being Carter. Only the first name, which is different to the surname, so not related there, from the looks of it at least. But as for the profile picture, Brooke appears to be with her husband, I guess, with a cowboy hat on from I believe when I checked Brooke Carter out, the public viewable public domain profile and photo as well, and that's for relevancy. So Texas, so from Texas. Any crossovers with Texas boys and Texas individuals from the party, right? This thing, Texas gets brought up a lot, but not enough Texas people show up. They say everything in Texas is big, yet they must not be that big, because you can't exactly see them easily or clearly, or the names or the gobs or the mouse when talking, because they seem to be a little bit more quieter than the typical regular sorts of names we've heard of. Interesting, right? When it comes to Brooke Bounds Carter, I wasn't too sure if she was in Noah Presgrove's army, or that there was people in Noah Presgrove's army that were friends with Brooke Bounds Carter getting on well together. But what, someone backstabbing the other in the background by elsewhere, saying negative stuff about people within the case and progress being made? I wonder. You start getting a bit dodgy behaviour. Oh, and just a heads up, you know what? There's been more changes in human behaviour yet again. Some very impetuous, impatient individuals whining. I know exactly who they are, or one of them at least. Very interesting, a little bit of a chain effect all of a sudden. I wonder why people have such a big issue. Interesting. If people didn't have an issue at the start, but they do now, then obviously something has happened in between for that to be triggered within them. But maybe. And this is the thing when it comes to humans who you may be around and know in real life or online. Yeah, they may appear nice at first, but then down the line you see their true side. Has it only changed then, or was it like that all along? It was just waiting for the right moment and time for them to snap and change. That's what's most cancerous about humans when it comes to that aspect. Anyway, let's move on. We've got photos, screenshots. I'm going to click on them one by one. We don't need to zoom in because it's already clear to read, which is very good. You can pause the video if you want, or I'll just read it out to you and feel free to listen in. So, I guess in no particular order, this, I'm guessing, was on the Sofa Sleuth page because of the people showing up here commenting. As for the initial post, because this is just a comment thread, I don't know the entire context, but if this is all to do with the private investigator interview, someone may have done a post by saying, hey, have you heard about this recently? Now, Brooke Bounds-Carter isn't labelled as the author, so I'm guessing somebody else created the post and these people are reacting to it by showing their thoughts. Brooke Bounds-Carter, Facebook, saying, that was an hour wasted of my time. By the way, the girls have not been interviewed by Kathy Bingham and were told by the LE not to speak to her. Also found it interesting, she said Jack Newton lie detector test was inconclusive, yet Robin said he passed. So who's lying? All her crap is, well, I heard BS, with the eyes rolling. I wish LE would come out and give updates or hurry up and solve this for everyone. A very interesting start to begin with. So by saying that, an hour waste of my time would imply that this person felt that nothing beneficial came from that interview. But by saying that the girls have not been interviewed by Kathy Bingham, what does that mean? For him to say girls means more than one. So if we're talking about girls in general, are we basically saying every girl at that damn party hasn't been interviewed by Kathy Bingham? Let's be realistic that Kathy Bingham did say that she's interviewed 6 people, but she did not say exactly who. She didn't mention the exact names, did she not? Or at least from what I looked at within the transcript, I believe, or the summary update from wherever, I didn't hear any mention of names, any female names mentioned, just the fact that only 6 people have been interviewed, and 2 of which are supposedly seen as innocent in the eyes of Bingham, right? So 30, 40 party goers, 6 people interviewed. Not that I saw any mention of exactly who was interviewed or what gender, and yet Brooke Bounds-Carter is assuming by saying that, oh yeah, when, I can't remember names, when Bingham said about interviews taking place, oh no, the girls went, but Bingham didn't say about the girls, so why is Brooke talking about the girls then? It's like adding things on which weren't mentioned originally, and yet you're responding back to it. I don't know, it's like a slip of the tongue. Nevertheless, to say girls, I'm guessing that's Jasmine Millan, Avery Carter-Combs, Stephanie Millan, Logan, any of us. I don't know how many girls were there, but, none of them have done an interview. But Ellie telling them not to speak, but they've been interviewed by the Ellie at least, hopefully. The bit about saying... found it interesting, she said Jack's lie detector test was inconclusive, yet Robin Smith, the aunt, said he passed. So who's lying? Oh, so you're saying it's either between Bingham is lying or Robin Smith is lying, the aunt. Why not in between? Why not Jack himself? Because the only reason why Robin has said that Jack passed is because that's what she's been told either by Jack himself or the police. And I think it was more so what Jack said, and that's why Robin was passing it on. What the hell? Now, it makes sense for Jack to lie in that case, to say that, yeah, I passed the test. So then it makes you look more innocent, especially in the eyes of the family members, in the eyes of others out there. You want to, portray that you've done well and you've been honest, you've told the truth. And then that's what people believe in because, from the looks of it, the Aunt Robin Smith believed in it. That was good enough for her. I mean, let's not forget it was Sarah Long or Stevie Howard that were easy and convincing when Jack said this and Jack said that, and those individuals passed it on elsewhere saying, well, I think he said this, I believe he said that, that's what he told me at least. Well, couldn't that be the same with Robin then? From her point of view, that's what Jack told her, Don't mean to say that Robin is lying. Robin may have been told a lie by the likes of Jack who initiated it in the first place, right? So there is that. Interesting. Now, who is the name of that bloody private investigator? Something, I don't know why, but I'm having a mental block when I'm thinking of people's names because I'm absolutely sick to death of all the names you have to remember in this case. It's ridiculous. Most cases out there, there's a handful of names, isn't there? But here, it's limitless because let's not forget that maybe a handful, besides the 30 to 40 party goers, there's probably more than that, right? 30 to 40 party goers, but then you've got the sisters, the brothers, the parents, the friends of friends, or whatever, okay? Extended family, whatever you want to call it, who are getting themselves involved in the case, even though they weren't there at the party. Might be the exception of the odd one that was there at the party, but that was after the party kind of came to an end and post-death of Noah Presgrove, but still, just the way it's going. So I've completely forgotten the first name of this private investigator. Take in mind this is a pre-recorded video, so if anyone's screeching or telling me in the chat, it's this name, it's this now, I'm not going to see it until later, okay? Well, anything else to mention? Brooke says, wonder who this person is she claims Jack's afraid of and what all the kids saw to be so scared. Also found it funny that Ellie haven't asked her for anything. Maybe that's a sign. She was claiming to have something and told them. She's probably similar to Justin Roy in this aspect with the LE. So Brooke Bounce Carter is calling out Justin Roy as well. Throwing shade over there. But I thought Bingham, the private investigator, was saying how she was trying to reach out with records or some kind of data or call logs, and she was denied that. Who was she denied by? I don't know. But yeah. Let me know what you think down below about this, if you agree or not, shocked, surprised or not. Brooke says, that was an hour wasted of my time. Why are you saying that again, Val? By the way, the girls have not... what the fuck? Why is it like that? But then there's another piss off. Why is it close? Why is it close together like that? That was an hour waste of my time with the same emoji as that one. I don't understand how Sarah Long can just suddenly appear just under that comment when she already added a comment below that. That's weird as hell, unless there's a comment thread missing. Weird, very dodgy. But Sarah Long says in response, that's correct. LE asked the girls and other kids to not speak with her. They asked the girls to only communicate with them. Oklahoma Highway Patrol and OSBI, they did say you can talk to who you want, but I would advise you to not speak with this PI lady. If you have any questions or things you remember you want to share, you come to us and not her. Funny though how the odd girl here or there, such as Stephanie Millan, supposedly another party goer, another Millan who was there, and Stephanie Millan was quite okay speaking to a random stranger online and asking and answering questions and shit. Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you just randomly start communicating with a stranger out there, but then you've got a private investigator who might be a bit more established and maybe a little bit more trustworthy compared to a complete stranger who you actually communicate with. So Stephanie Millan did that, and yet Sarah Long saying here that, oh yeah, any of the girls, best to, keep quiet, don't start speaking to anyone or anything, just come to us if you've got anything to say. Well, obviously people didn't exactly follow the rules there. And, even like when that random viewer on my channel sent a public comment, even though it was a bit negative, thought-provoking, to the likes of Carter Combs, and then Carter Combs did a private DM response saying, I'm going to beat the beep out of you, which is very threatening language and could be considered some kind of offence based off what we're looking at, the Oklahoma laws. If she had such a problem, she should have reached out to Sarah Long then, as it's all claimed here. They've got a little safe space group, and yet people aren't even following those rules, are they? Who's this? Siobhan Setzer Asenap. What a name. What I can say about this podcast is, thank goodness the family isn't paying her for her expertise. Well, doing it free of charge to begin with. Brooke Bounce Carter says, lol, that's no joke. Okay, so they don't think much of Bingham. Sarah Long says to Brooke, it's crazy this lady gets on a podcast to say he was beaten. Okay, that's murder, and Ellie have already ruled murder out. Like, what do these people not understand? Seriously, Ellie have all the evidence. Does she expect us to believe the medical examiners, OSBI, OHP, and all the phone data plus forensic evidence is wrong and her theory is right? I can't decide if it's laughable or sad she is speaking on his case. In terms of the damn phone pings, I've not really heard that many, right? How many bloody phone pings have there been? Caden Pressey, supposedly. There was talk about that from Stevie Howard. Wow. Phone ping from Jack Newton at the highway, but that was kind of messy. How many fucking phone pings harder, and why they're not fucking clearly visible. My God, the organisation, the categorisation is lacking. You know, if I do get a hold of certain things, I'll try and categorise it and make it very clear to find on my channel. I'll try and get it under control, whereas elsewhere maybe it's not so under control. But we need to go back over this by what Sarah Long says about that podcast. So say now that lady, Bingham, is going about how Noah was beaten. Okay, that's murder. But, you know, if you looked at it, Sarah Long, even I was a bit confused by it, or a bit like, you know, what the hell's going on here? Because Bingham said, I don't think it was done intentional. It was because of jealousy. So you're thinking that like a situation of Noah, overkill, brutal injury sustained, you know, fatal, absolutely. Oh, it wasn't intentional. How else can that happen? Especially if it's not all in one go or caused by one such thing. It's caused by multiple beatings, multiple punches, multiple blunt force trauma and damage. Multiple times. By then you'd realise, you know, if this is an accident, maybe I should stop punching him then. Oh, come on, get a grip. So even Sarah Long has failed to understand the language and wording from what Bingham was saying, right? Bingham isn't exactly on Sarah Long's side, but Bingham isn't going all out against Sarah Long either. It's kind of like in the middle on the fence. You know what? Could be considered a beating or some kind of thing like that, but it's not intentional, so you know, it's not directly first degree murder, that type of thing. It could be what, manslaughter, second degree, I don't know. But you know, the majority of people do believe it's a beating. It's the ones within the case, and then the friends of friends are the ones within the case that all seem to think, or most seem to think, it's some kind of, you know, it's just not a beating, it's just not a murder. But then you got the likes of Caleb Newton that was saying he's been told, right, it wasn't a hit and run, it wasn't a beating. So what else could it be? And there's no more examples given. Because they honestly can't think of another excuse, another possibility maybe. Brooke says, right, Bingham says she thinks it was an accident, yet says beat to death. Being beat to death isn't an accident. Oh my God. Oh my God, we got a breakthrough? We got people inside of the case that are using common sense. Wow. It might be the very first time on the same exact wavelength, even if it is the opposition. They're actually using common sense. Very interesting. Hang on a minute. Sarah Long using a face palm. These people, excuse me. You know, the only face palm around here is the Warlike Wrath custom one, okay? You want to use it? You'll have to become a member. Let's look back in Sarah's responding to, is that Michaela Wilson? The girls have fully cooperated with LE since the beginning. Their attorney alongside LE advised them not to speak with private investigators. Oh, but they're allowed to speak to random strangers online. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? LE asked the kids to only talk with actual professional LE agencies working the case. There are no missing golf clubs. That's another rumour. Oh no. Maybe this was mentioned already before when Caden Pressey did his interview about it, and they might have responded there, but I've only seen this for the very first time, okay? Sarah Long is stating that there were absolutely no missing golf clubs. It was all one big rumour. But is Sarah Long aware that golf clubs were taken to the party at least? Dalen has confirmed that because he passed them on to Noah, and Noah took them down to the party in which he, Caden, and some others used. Then after that, they just disappeared. So if Sarah says they weren't missing, then where the hell are they then? Where are they? This is extremely dodgy. What's mentioned here kind of goes against, it kind of like counters Justin Roy, it counters Caden Pressey and even Dalen Presgrove. It's like, what do you call it? Discrediting those people who've tried making sense of this case and speaking out, trying to reveal the supposed truth, and Sarah Long is saying it's a lie, it's a complete lie. So Sarah Long indirectly is calling Caden Pressey, Justin Roy, and even Dalen Presgrove a liar. I think that quote might need to be used in the video for today, possibly, because it's quite a critical point. Whilst, yes, we're talking about the private investigator, there was no word or mention about the golf clubs in that interview, not from what I can remember when I briefly looked at the transcript and the summary, unless it did come up in discussion earlier or later on in the video. Apologies about that if it's lacking there, my knowledge. But why else would you be talking about the golf clubs if it's more to do with other situations? But anyway, what else do we have here? Because they don't... Wait. The property owners at the party are not missing any golf clubs because they don't own any clubs. Now, if someone attended the party and took clubs and now claim their clubs are missing, that's a rumour I've not heard yet. So just because you haven't heard it or you haven't bothered researching, you're saying it can't be a fact. But if there are facts out there and you haven't searched for it and you're calling it a rumour, that could be considered very ignorant. But Sarah says, but luckily the golf club theory has been debunked. How? Ellie have told the kids that they know he was not murdered or beaten with golf clubs. Maybe that's what they've wanted to be told. Yes, I hope the truth comes out eventually so his family can have closure and his friends can live in peace and have safety from the public enemy, also known as Facebook. If the public enemy is Facebook and you got such a big problem with it, then why the hell are you using this to write this comment up then? Oh no. So the reference of the property owners having missing golf clubs is just like a rumour. It's not true. We weren't even bloody talking about the owners having golf clubs in the first place. It was all about Noah Presgrove bringing the clubs down. Where the hell did the whole club situation come from? The homeowner or the ones that lived there? What is going on? It was all about Noah and his clubs, which just so happened to belong to the brother, Dalen Presgrove, in which Dalen lended them to Noah, and Noah took them down to the party, and they were used. Were they damaged from messing around with them? Maybe, maybe not. And then afterwards, supposedly, went missing. Then, what happened was, Caden ended up coming across them at a scrap pile behind Jack's place. And then Caden was made more aware of that and confirmed and reinforced when he had a conversation with Dalen afterwards. But by then, too late, because they weren't there anymore. Moved on, possibly. Is it a coincidence that you got a bag of golf clubs at a scrap pile like that, which look very similar to the ones Noah had? Is that a chance? Even if it was, well then it would still mean that the original clubs are 100% missing, because where else are they? How else can they disappear? They don't jump into the bag and then walk away, do they, like Noah's shorts do? No. Anything else that needs to be read here? But to say that, now someone attended the party with the clubs and that they went missing, it's just a rumour because I haven't heard anything about it. Oh my God. So just because you haven't heard about it, that means it's a rumour. Oh no. If you took that mentality with everything in life, I don't think you'd get that far. Theory has been debunked. Has it really been debunked about the clubs going missing? About the clubs being used? Is that the final page? Well, that's probably a good thing. Brooke says, let's talk about those golf clubs. That's literally the dumbest thing ever. Anyone with a pea-sized brain that can read an autopsy knows this is not possible. Please keep trying to push the BS. So you're saying that not a single injury, major or minor, on Noah's body could have been caused by a golf club. What's next? Oh, someone's got a hole in their chest and there's a bullet nearby. No, the person wasn't shot. Not possible. If you think it's possible, then you're an idiot, man. Really? Bones can be broken with blunt instruments and objects. Bones are less likely to be broken, or probably not possible, if you was to use quite a thin, pointy, small surface area object. A small surface area is likely to penetrate the body and cause cuts within and tears and whatnot, depending on how you pull it out and if you twist it or not within. Those injuries can be pretty bad especially when trying to patch and heal it and requiring stitches. If you're using a blunt instrument which is not sharp and has a bigger surface area, less chances of penetration unless it's a bit jagged or gets caught on the side, the angling of it, depending how you use it. But one thing for certain, blunt force, bigger surface area, more likely to cause that impact, that absorption within, like shockwaves throughout the body, which causes the damage within compared to the outside. On the outside surface, it may not look as visible, but internally, more damage is done than on the outside. It's more visibly obvious if you use a smaller surface item like a knife and stabbed someone or slashed someone, because you get a big open cut and wound where blood can come out. Whereas blunt force beam like that in the stomach area, you might not have a cut, you might not bleed from the stomach, but you might have an internal bleed within. You might have broken bones, broken ribs. Those bones could break off and then puncture your lungs or whatnot, depending on how it goes. Probably to break inwards rather than out, like a compound fracture. It depends. It could differ with the arms or legs, but you could use like a wooden block and use it against somebody's shin or just above or under the knee and snap the leg just like that using a blunt instrument at a certain angle and doing it in such a way where it makes contact with the body. It bends in a way it's not supposed to, hence why it breaks. I mean, I guess it's just not acknowledged, is it? But what are the comments like? What do people have to say? Newest comments first. Ariel says, unfortunately, I think the LE is compromised considering all the connections that have been discovered on various threads throughout this sub. I think the only way the investigation gets anywhere is if the OSBI or the FBI gets involved, so as there are oversight of local law enforcement and that anyone actively working on the case with conflict of interest is dismissed. Fair enough. LE is most definitely compromised. They are what I like to call good old Freemason boys. They all look out for one another. It's a brotherhood or whatnot. I've been listening to a podcast about another death investigation in the county over, sadly in the small rural Oklahoma. Okay, I think that's what it means. Communities, corruption and cover-ups are real. Another thing that is real, hard drug use and trafficking makes people do crazy things over literally nothing. Wasting says, these are incredible accounts. The whole family lies. They think they're untouchable. They're about to find out what it's like to lose everything. They're in denial of what's coming. She says LE has ruled out murder. In response, Ariel, they said we are not investigating the death as murder at this time, so it's still on the table, right? It's not been completely cleared. Oldies, that's outrageous. Fresh, yes, Ellie did state months ago they're not treating Noah's death as a murder. Murder means premeditated, so they could still be looking at manslaughter, accidental death, etc. I mean, is it accidental to shoot someone in the head 5 times? Is it accidental to shoot someone in the head 1 time? More likely that than 5 times, right? Ariel, is a crime of passion murder or homicide, like if it was a fight that got carried away but not premeditated. Intrepid says, murder, ... premeditated killing of a person, homicide, killing of a person. Premeditated is like pre-planned, it was meant to happen, it was planned out earlier, day before, etc. That could apply to serial killers as well, but then other times it's just on the spot, isn't it? Homicide, killing a person, that's what the Dylan Brown's case was treated as, a homicide case. And then when Brenner was charged, at first it was first degree murder, the most serious charge, but then later dropped to second degree murder because partially it wasn't to do with it being planned out, it was supposedly a snap moment, but more so it's because charges were dropped or reduced because of the plea deal. Just as a little reference there. Intrepid says, I think genuinely most people don't think this is a murder case. Many people do think it's a homicide case. I think the police may even think it's a homicide, and accidental death can still be homicide if another person caused it. Okay. I missed that. Joe, and ruled out hit and run, which signals to a working theory of accidental, like Noah stood up naked in the back of a truck with shorts in hand and somehow fell out, resulting in being scalped among multiple other injuries like his fingers, which would be inconsistent with a fall, and somehow grass and dirt was in his shoes despite being on the side of a road. Exactly. I think the grass situation on the shoes probably is elsewhere where he may have been killed or where he might have been dragged alive or not as it gathers in the shoes. That's what I think. To me, accidental should be ruled out unless there is an explanation for the lack of blood. Either Ellie is just floating theories to not let on as to what they really think, or based on the comments in original poster's post. Is that what Brooke Bounds Carter? Ellie is sharing investigation details with potential suspects, and a high level of Ellie should be alarmed by the incompetence and take over this wrongful death investigation. In addition, these kids, our mind says they have to be floating theories to not let on what they really think, because there is absolutely no way they've ruled out homicide, not in any sense of the word. I don't believe Jack passed his polygraph test either. I think Ellie is holding cards close to their chest in hopes that someone will start talking. Joe says, let's hope, because several have said the party house owners are somehow connected to LE or the investigators. Until the podcast, I started suspecting the polygraph claim was fake, as only Jack mentioned it and News Nation didn't comment on the validity of the test, meaning they didn't vet the info or attempted unsuccessful. And it's unusual, as polygraph tests are seldom used anymore. They're not admissible in court cases, and if it can't be used to prove innocence in court, what's the point of taking one? Plus, it seems questionable someone in the backwards Ellie could accurately interpret the polygraph results. And why is it all about Jack taking a polygraph test? Out of the 40 people at the party, and only one took a polygraph test, or only one has been focused on in taking it. What about the other 39 people then? Did they take a polygraph? And how did they do? Because it doesn't seem to get talked about. Either that's because it never happened, or it's just not that important. But I think it would be important. Minimalista. These women are really attempting to assassinate Kathy. Yeah, I forgot the damn name. Kathy Bingham. Yes, the PI. Yeah, painting a bad picture of Kathy. Just like how they did with Caden Pressing when he did his interview. Seems to be a bit of a pattern, doesn't it? I think they might have done it with Justin Roy as well. So whenever there's a new interview, and whoever puts themselves out there and they tell an unpopular side of the case compared to what the insiders may have said or wanted it to be said as, and there's a level of resistance and throwing the toys out the pram and just poking fun and messing about and the odd insults. It's got like Stevie Howard level maturity, isn't it? Or lack of it. Yeah, poke fun of her, just like they have done to Noah's grandmother previously. Is that so? They actually did that? Is that because she did an interview as well in the past? These women are both guilty of openly mocking her supposed overuse of, in several interviews that she has given to local press. Oh, overuse. What, of drugs or something? Using that as an insult. And regarding the golf clubs, Noah's brother had personally confirmed on several occasions that he did in fact gift them to Noah, some mismatched clubs, and they were never retrieved, never returned. Now, if RHP or local LE officials are suggesting these kids not speak to victims' families, private investigator, doesn't that make them at the very least look suspicious? Unfortunately, this entire case reeks of small-town good old boys cover-up club. I'm hopeful that justice is served soon and not 10, 15 years on or even 20 years down the road. Someone goes to bed with an extremely heavy conscious mind every single night, and I don't understand how they do it. Well, if they're a psychopath, maybe they lack certain emotions so they can be at ease with themselves, possibly. Joe. Saw/heard Kathy for the first time on the YouTube podcast and confident saying she has more integrity than those commenters combined on Facebook. If there's truth to Sarah Long's claim in those comments that Ellie is sharing details of an ongoing death investigation with potential suspects and telling them what was or wasn't used to inflict fatal injuries, then the investigation is messed up and needs to be rescued. Seems very odd Ellie could single out a specific item not responsible for those injuries. It's obvious an item was used, as no fall or fist could result in the top of the head wound among other injuries. How laughable, commenter BBC claims that's not supported by the autopsy. Maybe I'd interpret the same if I had a pea-sized brain. I mean, yeah, you could have a pea-sized brain, but if you got a BBC, I guess you're compensating for something there. Oh, sorry. I mean, isn't BBC British Broadcasting Corporation? Or is BBC Big Black Cat? Meow. I don't know. Well, some will. Ariel says, it seems like Sarah Long, Stevie Howard, etc. have been portraying themselves to know the facts of the case, despite not being there at the party or the time of the death. That says a lot, doesn't it? By phrasing things with conviction like, L.E. ruled murder out. Not true. L.E. only publicly stated that Noah Presgrove's death wasn't being investigated as a murder at this time. It can change, right? The only thing ruled out at this time is a hit and run. Yeah, but these relatives of Carter Combs, Avery Combs, continue to make it seem like they know the state of the investigation and details that they shouldn't. And even if the police have ruled it out as a hit and run, and even if these people within the case claim to be in contact or a bit of contact with the LE on and off, and yet they're going against what the LE are saying by saying it is a hit and run and being in a state of denial, then really, are they quite there with it? You'd think if they are in contact with the LE and the LE have clearly ruled out the situation, at least with the hit and run, then they themselves, the parents or the others of the party goers connected, family, should be saying, yeah, it can't be a hit and run because the police told us that it was ruled out. But they're saying that, no, it probably still is a hit and run. It is a hit and run. Oh yeah, the LE, they say it's ruled out, but it's still a hit and run. Oh, but by the way, what the LE says here, and this was said by the LE, but it's not. Are they claiming to be in contact with the LE, or they're faking it, or they're exaggerating it, or they're just only using selective hearing and maybe bending and twisting some words so it fits their own narrative and agenda? What else do we have? I wouldn't be surprised if there's information being leaked by LE to Stevie Howard or CN, Caleb Newton. But then again, CN, it's either Caleb Newton or it's Colton Newton, the brother to Jack Newton. I'm assuming that what's mentioned here by CN is Caleb, etc. Considering their connections, LE has failed this case massively, and then we have those people pushing their agenda. If they cared about Noah and the tragedy that occurred, they wouldn't be insulting a woman who's trying to help the Presgrove family. True? But the answers they deserve. The behaviour of these people is so bizarre. All the others have to do in the case is they disagree, but when you start doing name-calling, insults and behaviour like that, you're a part of the resistance and part of the problem. I saw it extensively in the Dylan Rounds case, and there was some boots-on-ground searchers out there, locals, in which sometimes resorted to name-calling me, which was absolutely pathetic within those humans in existence on this earth. And then you had some audience members online saying, yeah, but what they're doing is really good. Yeah, and what, acting like a little bitch boy is better? Get a grip of yourselves. No bitch boys here, or the bitch boy posse gang, if you remember that. Spinning around, my God. Anything else to highlight? Yeah, what about the Aidan Clune situation? Oh, we found some shoes. Breaking news. This is closed. We're going to find him right now. Not really led to much since, has it? That was a hype train, fallen flat, typical. That's why you shouldn't get too hyped up, or hype up in general. Joe says, that's not so much a common exchange as it is PR and gaslighting. Again, it was said that Caden Pressey was being gaslighted by the likes of Sarah Long as well. Debunked. We know golf clubs were brought to the party house by Noah. In the words of the eloquent Sarah Long, these people, facepalm. Oh, God, I'm getting a bit jealous with all these face palms. I need to start using mine more often, but unfortunately I can't use it elsewhere. It's only on my channel on YouTube. What a shame. Fabulous says, right, aren't these people real close to each other? Why don't they just call each other and talk about it instead of discussing it on Facebook? Yeah, it is a bit weird. Because how did these people communicate with one another in the past when there was a problem or a situation? Did they all resort to using Facebook only and doing it publicly? Is it purposely done on, public sites as kind of like an alibi or kind of like a witness? You know, like how when it comes to YouTube and we're talking about stuff and discussions and documenting bad things and drama and conflict, it's done in the public eye so then other people see it in real time as like a witness, but it's done naturally. Is there a possibility that within this case certain things, conversations which probably should be behind closed doors or done privately isn't, when normally it would be in the past, but they're deciding to do it publicly here, so then everything is publicly viewable and any mistakes are shown? But then it puts pressure on them themselves, who are maybe doing it for other unnatural reasons because they can't slip up. And in a way, they have done at times. So, goes both ways. HHR says, wait, isn't that HH the serial killer? No, they're probably completely different. Forget about that. Huh? Let's go like that cat, that white cat online where it says, huh? Noah literally brought the golf clubs to the party, and his autopsy shows he suffered multiple blunt force injuries. Yeah. Not to mention one of the wounds was shaped like a fish, which perfectly matches the wound caused by one of the golf clubs, or a golf club. Everyone related to the party goers really want us to believe Noah wasn't beaten to death when that could have easily been the case. Also, hit and run has already been ruled out, so why do they want us to believe to happen to Noah? Make it make sense. Yikes. That's pretty much it there. Let me give you my thoughts right now. So when it comes to those who weren't at the party but they've got a lot to say online and claim to know this and that, but that's only because they've been told something, but then they'll call out other people for knowing something, even though those people have been told by somebody. Could be the same one that told them something else. And then that person's being called a liar, but they're not calling themselves a liar. Why not call the middleman, Jack, a liar? Okay, that's a bit off subject, but that was one of the key points I wanted to add in, which I forgot to really mention earlier on, or at least clear up. But when it does come to those who weren't even there at the time, but they do talk a lot online from what they know of or what they've been told, and whilst there might be a range of different people that are in complete denial at this moment in time, are they truly in denial? Because just based off a scenario, if it did happen, what if it did come out that it was some kind of homicide or some kind of killing, and a person or people were responsible? How do those parents, how do those people within this case that have been so vocal and delusional, how would they react then? Would they be shocked? Would they just keep quiet and then suddenly disappear or delete their accounts? What would their reaction be? Or would they suddenly change up and say, see, I told you they were responsible. I told you so. That would be one of the worst reactions they could possibly do. And it would be annoying as well. Especially if you've been really consistent, they've been delusional, and then right at the end decide to change their mind. I saw it in the Dylan Rounds case, right? There was a wide range of delusional people, both creators and their disease-ridden audiences elsewhere. They kept pushing a certain narrative, pushing an agenda, enabling BS over and over again. And then right at the end, when it was resolved and the truth came out, people out there, others, majority, had the cheek to claim to all be on the right pathway as the others, like me. Pfft, get away, cretin, you disease-ridden presence radiating from you. Shoo! Shoo! Get away! You know what I'm saying? Can't just suddenly claim to be all in it together and all on the same page when you weren't back then. You were the complete opposite. You know, people have the cheek to just change up like that, like a goldfish mentality. Absolutely pathetic. Will that happen in this case, in that scenario? Wouldn't surprise me. That's all I'm saying. But was there anything else to acknowledge? Not this moment in time. There's been waves of resistance like this previously with other interviews. It just keeps coming in bulk time and time again. For as long as those interviews go on for, then there's a wave of resistance. My question would be, has Partners in True Crime ever had videos falsely reported for privacy violations? Because I had that issue. About 20 of my videos did get falsely reported by an absolute pathetic or a group of obsessed individuals which may or may not have a gay obsession with me. Embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. People need to get a grip of themselves. So, we've seen the reactions there. Am I surprised by it? Not really. I'll leave it there for now because we need to see what happens next, and I might need to catch up in other areas as well. I was considering doing 2 videos today, but if you look at my community post, it'll make more sense as to why I'm not. So thanks for watching. Feel free to share this video if you want, just from my point of view and my reaction to it. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.